Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about one episode that honestly foreshadows exactly what the show was going to end like. And this is the episode Brunch. Now, if you guys remember Brunch, it's the episode where Lily's finally back. She's trying to get with Marshall. Barney is upset that Ted doesn't want him to meet his parents. And Robin and Ted are basically getting ready because of how overbearing Ted's parents are and how usually they grill Ted's girlfriends. It's supposed to be a very fun episode, but this episode highlights and foreshadows exactly how Robin and Ted would eventually end up. So the story basically starts with future Ted showing his kids a photo of Brunch and basically rewinds as to what exactly happened on that event. There's three different conflicts, like I mentioned. Ted is nervous about introducing Robin to his parents, but the biggest conflict here is that he finds out that his parents have actually been divorced for a little while now. And basically, they also show you that they don't talk about anything that makes them uncomfortable. This honestly shocks Ted because he believes that they had the perfect marriage. Marshall and Lily are basically fighting because they're trying to make each other jealous. After Marshall basically calls their relationship like brother and sister, Lily is offended by this. And so basically, Lily dresses provocatively to get Marshall's attention and make him regret on what he's missing out on. Meanwhile, Ted's dad unexpectedly becomes Barney's wingman, and Barney's pissed because he took some girl from him. Some girl specifically being Wendy, the waitress. The key message to this episode, though, is that Ted's parents basically stayed married throughout all those years by avoiding conflict and not being honest with each other. Future Ted even basically comments on how his parents always avoided honesty and just avoided conflict, pretended everything was fine at all times. Now, on the surface, honestly, that seems peaceful, but the truth is they quietly grew apart. By the time Ted was an adult, their marriage was basically fake. What's sad about this is that this revelation basically shakes Ted's full idea of what love should look like. This episode subtly exposes that same flaw in Ted's and Robin's relationship at the time. See, Ted believes love should be perfect, romantic, and permanent, while Robin approaches relationships extremely different. Robin is very independent and she is uncomfortable with emotional dependency. Throughout the series, she avoids vulnerability, she keeps distance in relationships, and she avoids discussing feelings directly. It's the entire opposite of what Ted is like. But what's funny about this is when Ted actually asked his parents how they met, they get straight to the point as a little joke. You know, Ted is sitting down his kids telling them that whole story. His parents just say they met in a bar. But Virginia, who is Ted's mom, actually explains that she didn't even want to go out with Ted's dad. But because he kept badgering her for months, she ended up saying yes. And this is honestly parallel as to how Robin and Ted met because Robin told Ted from the get go she wasn't interested, but Ted insisted. This episode is basically asking you, is Ted chasing an idea of love that he will never actually get? Brunch is that episode that basically tells you love isn't just about chemistry and it's about long term compatibility. Obviously, Ted and Robin at the time looked very happy, but the way that Ted's parents described the relationship, they basically describe the exact same relationship Ted and Robin have, and how apparently at some point they're going to break up. They do love each other, but the show tells you that they are just basically headed towards different futures, and it's crazy that they're telling you this as early as season 2. Unfortunately, at some point when Ted actually has a serious conversation with Robin, they end up breaking up, and it's honestly a huge insult as to how this show continues to put them together throughout the entire series. When you look at Brunch, it's kind of incredible as to how the writers were already telling you the truth about How I Met Your Mother. Ted basically spent his whole life thinking that the idea of a perfect marriage existed because he saw his parents, and when he found Robin, he thought that he had finally gotten there, only for him to realize that they had been together for so long because they just did not communicate. And in a strange way, that's exactly what Ted and Robin do. Ted and Robin honestly had everything, but what they didn't have was a future together. Because from the very beginning, Ted and Robin were never the end of the story. They were just a chapter that mattered a lot. You guys, thank you all for tuning in. Gonna continue dropping another one. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys really soon. Goodbye.